work that we were doing, or that we started last week, working on a warm-up, some activation and some mobilization, and then some flow movements. I'm using these specifically for my running practice, but it works for walking, it works for any general functional movement. But if you are into your running, into your hiking and stuff, this is a really good preparation for when you go out there. So let's jump onto the bigger camera. Rotation. So we're energizing the spine. We're getting some movement through the spine. This rotation, start with your feet about shoulder width apart. And just start the movement from the hip. So the hips are just rotating side to side, a little bit of bend in the knees. And then you rotate, bringing the hands up. So your hands up about head height. As you rotate, you bring the opposite foot off the ground. So the ball of if I'm mirroring you, the ball of the left foot is in connection to the ground there. The knee is bent a little bit, so I'm not twisting the knee. And then you come back to center. And then you rotate in the other direction. So you shift your weight to the left, ball of the right foot comes off the ground, and then just swap side to side. And notice the rotation through the spine, particularly in that upper spine, thoracic spine area as you rotate around. Our breath is easy in and out through the nose. Keeping that little bit of a bend in the knee just so that we don't lock the knees out. So as I said, this is great for preparation for walking, running, hiking. But I know just through our little Zoom session we just had, some of you may have been running, some of you may have been doing some exercise. This is also really good as a cool down, as a relaxation after any exercise as well. So use it for both. And then just bring the arms a little bit lower. And notice when you bring the arms lower, you can focus maybe on a different area of the rib cage. So if we bring the arms about lower rib height, you can focus more on that rotation through the mid-back. Breathing easy out, in and out through the nose, just naturally. Not overstretching, not overstraining. Couple more, just with that attention on your mid-back. And then you can come a little bit lower. You can bend a little bit lower in the knees. I need to go a little bit wider on my stance. Do adjust your stance if it feels awkward on the legs. And drop a little bit lower. So you're about hip height. And you can focus on a little bit more rotation through the lower back. Just freeing up any tightness, any tension. Still keep tall through the spine. So even though we're a little bit lower, we're not leaning forwards or bending forwards. You're just lowering your hips a little bit. Still bringing that opposite heel off the floor. And then take that straight into knocking. So we just come up a little bit taller, still keeping that bend in the knees, lifting through the crown. Or as Tom mentioned in the Zoom there, just having that idea of maybe being just dangled from a string. Tapping back of the body with the back of the hand, front of the body, with the forearm as it swings across. And then slow it down. Slow it down, nice and easy. Bringing the feet hip width, balancing. So standing with your feet connected to the ground, strong, stable through the floor, through the ground, through the lower body, light and lifted the upper body, relaxing the shoulders. Very subtle tuck of the chin so you get that nice length through the neck, the head just balanced on top of the spine. Step back out. Let's go wide now. So wider stance, about a shoulder and a half width apart. Let's do big hip circles. So taking the hips back. This is where you will hinge forwards from the hips. Nice straight legs so you get that stretch through the hamstring. And then hips to the side. Slight back bend here. So lift that sternum up to the sky so the hips come forwards a little bit. And then a big circle again. Circle round. Circle round. So legs stay straight but not locked. Just so we get that nice stretch through your hamstrings, maybe your calves, ankles. Let's do one more in this direction. And then change direction. Making sure that you go to your own comfortable range of motion, that you don't overstretch. One side may feel slightly different to the other. None of us are perfectly symmetrical. Let's do a couple more. This is really good to get those hips mobile, particularly if you're sitting a lot or even standing a lot. Come up to standing. Walk your feet together. Let's do our leg swing. So stabilize. I'm going to stabilize on the right side. Just swing that free leg out and across. Balance. I was doing this with a client yesterday who couldn't get it, who was kicking and doing lots of different things. And we're like it's like a puppet. So you imagine a puppet, you're lifting the leg with the string there. So you're lifting the knee and it's just freeing that leg. This, when you're thinking of walking or running, for that split second, you are stable on one side of the body and the leg that's swinging through needs to swing through with freedom. If there's tightness or if you're holding tension in that swing through leg, then it's not good. You may be holding too much tension. So you want that swing leg to have a freedom, to have a flow about it as you swing it through, or as it swings through. So it's just freeing up that swing, as it falls over, that swing leg. You might notice clicks, you might notice clunks. Couple more. And then shake the legs out. Let's do a little bit on the knees and the ankles. So slight bend forwards on the knee. So you're just resting your hands on the knee. A little bit of bend in the knee. Notice that my back is long here, so I'm not hunched over. Back, long back. A little bit of bend. Just circle the knees out. So I'm not pushing, I'm not over pushing, I'm just doing a very, very gentle circle. Circle, you extend a little bit there. Circle, extend a little bit. So you're almost pushing through the heels a little bit. Let the feet gently move to the side. So you'll feel a little bit more weight on the side of the foot, a little bit more weight through the arch of the foot. So let the feet not move with it, but just feel that freedom in the ankles as well, so that you're not holding any tension in the feet. And then let's go in the other direction, really gently, and not forcing any movement. So if this is hurting, you know by now, any pain you stop. We do not force anything within our own bodies, because it's not good for us. So yeah, we can work hard, we can feel as if we've really worked, but any pain that affects how you move biomechanically, you stop. If you've got any pain in your knees, any pain in your hips, stop. You'll feel also when we're doing this that it is working the hips too, and it's working the ankles. And then slowly come up to standing. A little bit of a shake out. Let's work on the ankles. So we've done a lot of ankle shaking. Let's do some ankle moving, if you like. So let's balance on our right leg. So this is a great balance exercise as well. You can use your two tigers if you want to use your two tigers. So you've got your hands balanced on two tiger heads there. Balance on the right leg. Straighten out that left leg in front. Circle the ankle. So circle it in one direction. Really stretch out the toes. Get that ankle moving. Nice crack there. It's really good when you go to the osteopath and he pulls your ankle. Because again, when we're walking, running, there's a lot of compression in that ankle joint. So it's good to free up that ankle joint a little bit. That's what shaking is good for. And this also. And then circle in the other direction. And you may feel that working up the calf muscles as well. So coming up, God, I'm getting loads of cracks in my ankle this morning. Wow, going that way is good. You may feel that coming up your calf muscle. Good, and then balance a second and shake it out. And then we'll swap sides. So stabilize on your left side, hold on to your two tigers, leg out, circle that right ankle. So this is good in the fact that you're working on mobilizing the ankle, but you're also stabilizing on the opposite side of the body. So a circle in one direction. And then circle in the other direction. Couple more. And then shake it out. And give the legs a good shake from the hips, the knees, the ankles. And then come to standing again. Just stand for a minute. You might feel some nice, warm, tingling sensations through the legs, down through the legs, into the lower legs, into the feet. Often when we've done a lot of the Qigong stuff, you can really feel that nice tingling sensation in the arms. It's a bit more difficult to feel it in the legs, but just see if you can feel any warmth, any tingling, because we've done quite a lot of hip stuff and ankle and knee. So just balance. Breathing easy. Good. Now this one, the next one, I'm really enjoying feeling where my center is, where gravity is, and where you are balancing with this next practice. Because when you bring this into your step forwards when you're walking, or even more so when you're running, because it's a little bit quicker when you're running, you want to feel an awareness of where your center of gravity is, where your center line is, so that you're not falling too far forwards or falling too far backwards. And this, for me, is the perfect exercise to do that. So it's called Raise the Bubbling Spring. So let's just do it without bringing the arms up first. So just come onto the ball of the feet. So just raise up onto the ball of the feet. And you'll notice, where is my center of gravity? If I'm too far forwards, I fall forwards. If I'm too far back, I fall backwards. So you really have to keep tall through the spine, keep lifted and lengthened. So if that spine goes, you'll fall. Actually, that's another good point that we were chatting about in the Zoom, about that lifting tall. Lift, 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 lift. And there your center of gravity is in a good place. You find that window of balance. And then come back down. It's also a great one for strengthening the feet. So connect your bubbling spring. Remember where the bubbling spring is. It's that ball of the foot there. A little bit of bend in the knees, and then just straighten as you come up. Balance. Come back down. And again, raise the bubbling spring, balance. Come back down. Couple more. Shift your center of gravity forwards, raise, keep tall through the spine. Come back down. Shift your center of gravity, raise, find that window of balance, and come back down, and then shake out. As I said, what is good about that is it's strengthening the feet, but it's helping you to find that feeling of when you are running, when you're coming off that standing leg, you find you having your window of balance in the right place. What I don't want you to do is start overusing the lower legs. So don't start to physically try and push down when you're walking and running. Remember, this is a drill, or this is an exercise. So let's do that again. This time we make it a little bit more challenging in the fact that you bring your arms up. So our center of gravity changes because we're shifting our arms up. So it's a little bit more challenging. And then you can just let go and have a little bit of a swing. So that's quite nice as a sort of like a freer of the shoulders and of the arms. So again, come back up. And then let go and let the heels bang into the floor. So you get that vibration. And again, bring it up. Balance, and let go. Let's do two more. Raise the bubbling spring, and let go. And you can breathe in. Oh, breathing in then made it go wrong. Breathe in, and let go. You can let go with a sigh out. So again, breathe in, and let go, and then shake out. Obviously, if that is hurting your ankles, you do not do that exercise. If your ankles are hurting, you can just come up a little bit, or you can just shift your center of gravity forwards a little bit, shift it back. But again, if you think what is happening when we're walking and we're running, we're coming off that support leg and you are lifting the heel up. So we are having that flexion through the foot. And when you are landing, that is what creates the actual push off, if you like. It's the landing. But don't overuse those lower legs. shake out. What you also want to watch out for that one is watch where the ankle or where the heel is, so that you're not dropping the heel out or in on the foot. So the heel wants to literally just lift up behind you. Really like that one. Good. Let's do the step now. So let's do the first movement where your fists are coming up and then fists are coming down. Light fists. And I want you to visualize the position of the hands is that almost like that spine wave. So as your arms are coming up, your spine is extending. So when you get to here, I'm lifting that sternum up a little bit. So it's almost like pumping the spine. So if I'm exaggerating, I'm doing almost like that spinal cord breathing. But obviously we don't want to do that bigger movement, but that's the exaggeration of what I want you to feel through the spine. You're extending the spine and then you're flexing the spine. So do that on a really small scale. So extend and then soften. It's so important to keep the rib cage flexible so that you have the space to breathe. So when we need more breath, when we're exercising, then you might think, oh, I'm getting out of breath because I'm not breathing efficiently, but it could be because you haven't got the space in your rib cage. So we want the flexibility, the movement in the rib cage, and that comes from the spine. So the spine is extending and opening up and then softening. Couple more. And now we'll bring that step with it. So get your feet most probably about hip width apart. We're stepping out about 30 degrees and then we're stepping back. So we're stepping out about 30 degrees and stepping back. As we step out, we extend the spine, but then we also rotate. So we extend and rotate. You see, I'm coming off the heel of that back foot and I'm looking behind. And then I'm stepping back and I'm softening down again. And then I'm shifting the weight to my left side so that I can step safely forward to the right. Extending and rotating, looking behind. Stepping back. Now just go side to side, flow movement. And if it feels comfortable, breathing in and breathing out. Or just go with your own comfortable breath pattern, but just breathing easy. Not over breathing, not breathing too much air, but also not breathing too little air. Be strong on that standing leg as you step forwards. Extend and rotate the spine. Step back. Let's do one more each side. And take a rest. Just balance for a moment. I really like that particular exercise or that particular movement because, as I've said before, there is so much going on there. So a couple of things to watch out for, just to really emphasize, is if I'm stepping forwards, this is my left leg. If I'm stepping forwards with my left leg, the first thing I have to think about or I don't really have time to think about. But the first thing when we're doing the movement slowly is to really be stable on this right side first, because when we step forwards, we tend to lean back and step forwards. But if you're strong and stable on this right side here, then when I step forwards, I just shift that whole upper body forwards. So I'm not leaning back. I love my guilty pleasure on a Saturday night is Strictly Come Dancing, but I love some of the stuff that they always say, because they say use your standing leg, and that's exactly what we're doing here, is you're using that standing leg to step forwards. So when you step forwards and shift the weight here, the spine is extending, and then you're lifting and rotating and opening up. So what can often happen is you step forwards and you rotate, but there's no spine extension, so you get more rotation through the lower back, and the lower back doesn't have that much of a range of motion as your upper back. So if at least we get that rotation, you get more rotation here through the thoracic spine. So just a couple of things to focus on when you're practicing that exercise. It seems so simple, but it is so effective, because when we're walking and when we're running, we're doing that in a really minute way. Obviously, you're not rotating all over the place like this, but there's that very subtle rotation through the spine. As you step, there's that extension and rotation. As you breathe in, there's that extension and rotation. We'll finish off with a little flow movement now, which is really nice. So take your feet shoulder width apart, a little bit of bend in the knees. I'm going to mirror you, so that right side of your body, right hip, right shoulder comes forward. So you get that little bit of rotation, right hip, right shoulder forward. So we're just moving that torso as a block. As that right hip and right shoulder comes forwards, the right arm floats up, and then it floats back down. As it floats back down, hip and shoulder come back to center. And then you do the same on the other side. It's a really subtle movement. So flow up, soft down. Flow up, soft down. And then get the flow and get the rhythm going, get the sequence of events going. So there's that subtle shift one side. So there's a strength through that one side. So feel that very subtle weight shift. Couple more. And then we'll conclude the practice pulling down the sky, arms up, elbows bend, bringing hands together, resting on your lower abdomen, stepping your feet together. Just taking a moment just to focus your mind, center yourself. And then breath in. Give yourself a little stretch, whatever feels good for you. And we'll finish there. We'll continue with the same similar theme next Thursday on this, just introducing some more of the flow and some more of the step exercises. Again, as I say, I use it for running, walking, but it's applicable for any movement. Great for warm up, great for cool down too. Thank you for joining. Really pleased to see you all today, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Remember, tomorrow I've got a lunch and learn with Adam Burgess, fresh from Tokyo. He is training as an Oxygen Advantage instructor with me, and he will talk about his training program. So that's going to be fascinating because he will say how he's used breath work to get him to the 2020 Olympics. So that will be a really good conversation. Next Friday is I'm heading up to Scotland, so there are still spaces for the Loch Long retreat. That is going to be fantastic. We secured some sauna tents yesterday, so I'm getting really excited about the sauna tents. They've got log fires in them and stuff like that, so that's going to be quite fun. So there are spaces available on that if you are free for that. Otherwise, if I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you next Tuesday for the breath work. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a great weekend. Bye. Bye.